Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Just want to do a quick mic test over here on Twitch real quick. I'll make sure everyone can hear me. Perfect. Hey. Let's go ahead and get this started. Let's get this switched over. Okay, I haven't streamed in a little bit here, but I've been doing some really fun stuff behind the scenes. But let's go ahead and let's open up the Discord so everyone can hear things. Let's go ahead and do this. Hello? Can everyone hear me? Awesome. How's everyone doing today? Everyone having a good day? Good, good. Glad to hear everyone's doing good. All right. Switched over. All right. On Twitch, can everyone see my screen? Everything good? Want to make sure. Perfect. Okay. So, want to go ahead and I just want to welcome everybody to our community meeting. This is Brighter Skies. This is our FiveM community we've been working on for quite a bit now. And as a lot of you here, you know that it's open. You guys have been playing on it. Really love just seeing everything that's been going on with the community and everything. And we've been kind of planning this, wanted to kind of put ourselves out there and really show you guys what we're all about and what we have planned for the community. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's get this started. So we have here, this is kind of our agenda for today. So we have an introduction of the team. We have our vision of Brighter Skies itself. We have our roadmap that we're gonna walk through and kind of show some things. Business reveal, monetization plan, as well as a Q&A at the end. So let's kind of get things started. So we have our team here. It's quite a lot of us. This team here, basically, these are our directors, which, you know, essentially our owners. We have our other heads of different departments and stuff. So we have like an economy team, business team, vehicle team, police, all that stuff. We found it's the best way to kind of work together in these kind of teams and really come together in the end to make something amazing. So I'm going to kind of go ahead and kind of start things off. So hi, you guys don't know who I am. My name is Ethan. I have been playing FiveM for quite a very long time. I think I'm one of the veteran members here of the team. I've been playing since 2016. I've been a part of many FiveM servers. You might have known me as Mr. Lowry or other characters I play like Little J, Dan Stenson, just a bunch of different characters I play. I'm a very avid person with creating fun characters, really engaging stories for players, and in general, just a big person that loves roleplay in general. So gonna go ahead and kind of push things over here. Dion, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dion. I'm one of the owners here. I head up kind of development and making everything work and doing all the bug fixes and stuff like that. I'm a long-time FiveM player. I've always just loved it and really wanted to give back to the community and just try to make a space that's kind of our vision of what the community and what the space can kind of look like and feel like and be like. So excited to be here. Happy that everybody's here joining us and playing and enjoying it so far.
Yeah, we're all really excited and really happy to just have this amazing community right now. It's wonderful. Dion's our magician behind the scenes doing some crazy stuff. He's amazing. We also have Eduardo. I don't know if he's here at the moment. He is our director of creativity, so he kind of does a lot of creative direction stuff for the server, coming up with some really cool ideas to kind of intermix with the development side of things that we have, as well as we have a whole story team that we'll kind of go into a little bit later and explain how all that works. Then we have Sean, who is one of our directors of marketing. And the next to him is Ian. He also handles a lot of the marketing stuff. From there, we have Knightsley. Would you like to introduce yourself and kind of talk about what you do here? Yeah, let me give you permission to speak. Not use stages before. This is a whole new thing for me. All right, are you able to speak?
Oh Lord, I'm doing this on my phone. So I'm Knightsley. I'm the head of police. I've been RPing since 2017 on 5M, but I've RP'd before in other different aspects as well. I'm pretty much going to be managing all the law enforcement side of stuff here in the server, not DOJ. DOJ is going to be its own wheelhouse. So if you have any law enforcement related questions, feel free to reach out to me at any point. Pretty much all I got.
All
Hey,
right.
put me back in the quiet corner, please.
I'll put you back at the quiet corner. I could figure out. There we go. Perfect. All right. Next up, we have Travis. Travis, do you want to say a little bit about yourself and what you do here?
Yeah, I'm Travis. I'm the head of economy. Any economy related issues, I usually am the one to try and get them in line. I've been RPing for a little over a year now, thanks to one of my friends that I invited here. It's been a great ride. I've met a lot of great people, and I'm happy to be a part of something that is hopefully focused on the community. That's all
Awesome.
I got.
And then we have IKEA. Dion, would you like to introduce IKEA? Because I know that she's not able to speak at the moment.
She is my partner, my wife, and she's also a sub-director here, so she's kind of like my right hand, I'd say. She helps me keep organized, and she helps everybody on the team kind of keep organized and keep focused. She's going to be the head of the business, so she'll be running the business side. So any business related concerns or questions, stuff like that, she's a good person to reach out to for all that. Yeah.
All right. And then we have Dom. Dom, would you like to introduce yourself? Probably need to give you ability. There we go. Get you. There we are.
Yeah, you have to let me speak if I want to introduce myself. Hi, how's it going? I'm Dom. Most other people will know me as Xavier Blackwell or X, as well as Sterling Gallagher. I've been role playing for a long time, 2017 for 5M, longer in different aspects, same thing as Knightsley. I am heading up the factions or criminal side of Brighter Skies. There's a lot of interesting things that are coming. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I will get back to you as quick as I can. I am also the head admin here, as well as the chief of SAMs. So just a big open book of different things. So if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out and I will get back to you as quick as I can.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Dom. And then after Dom, we have Val, who is our head of clothing. She is amazing. She's also been RPing for quite a bit of time and has been RPing with a lot of us here for about 2 years or so. Yeah, she's amazing. She handles a lot of our clothing stuff. Same with IKEA and a couple others. And then after that, we have Celsius, who is one of my really, really good friends. Known him for a very long time. He kind of helps do a lot of the story stuff with another person I'll be introducing here in a little bit. And then after that, we have Aaron. Aaron, would you like to introduce yourself? Kind of talk about what you do? My voice just broke saying that.
Yo.
Hey, Aaron.
I'm Aaron. I've been RPing for a couple years and about a year with a bunch of these lovely people here. I play Aaron and a couple other people in City. I wear a few different hats. One of the developers on the team, also heading up the vehicles, as well as a admin. So if you guys ever have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. And then after that, we have Professor Pasta. He is also on the story team with Celsius. They're basically working together to create the story that you'll kind of be experiencing throughout in the server. We have some really interesting ways of how we're going to be doing stories within the server that you'll be able to experience as a player. And it's something you can partake in or you don't have to partake in. It's completely up to you. You're not like forced into these different stories and stuff that we have. It's just there for you to kind of, experience. And that is our lovely team here. We of course have a lot of other people. We have a lot of different admins. We have our developers. We have different people that kind of work on these different teams. We also have Nova, who is our amazing community ambassador that we recently brought on, and she is really doing a lot of amazing stuff on the community side of things with myself and the community team. But yeah, let's get moving forward. Okay, so here we have the vision. So this is the vision of Brighter Skies. So vision of Brighter Skies is basically to create a community for role players with an RP first mentality that puts the spotlight and focus on you, the player, allowing you to create unique characters with interesting backstories. Our main goal was to try and bring RP back to the golden days of 5M, where players could get sucked into stories, scenes, and characters and really feel immersed. And that's really what we want to try and do, is just bring it back to those times when we just kind of just got lost in roleplay for hours upon hours and you just didn't even have a sense of time anymore. I remember when I was getting into some really amazing RP scenes with Knightsley and Dom, and we were just up in the wee hours of the night, like into some really crazy good stories and scenes that we had. And I would love to kind of bring RP back to those times. There's been a lot of times now lately where people have been just so focused on making their RP just about the content instead of about everybody else, as well as focusing on having over 20,000 different scripts and stuff with all these like fun little like mechanics and things to them that kind of detracts from what really is important, which is the RP. So with us here, we're trying to make the server more RP focused, and that is the front and center, instead of it just being script focused entirely. So we're trying to find a nice balance of things and really get into that kind of swing of stuff. And then down here, we have our core values of our community. So we have community, creativity, and respect. Those are some very core values for us as here at Brighter Skies. From here, we're going to go into a fun part, which is kind of going into our roadmap. So let's go here. This is going to be our reveal for the update that we're going to be coming out with. There's no release date just yet. We don't want to overpromise anything, but here we go. Let me go ahead and get this playing. Okay, so what you just saw there is a little, logo reveal for Fortune and Vice. This is going to be our first flagship update. What we're going to go into now is the actual roadmap to kind of walk through some things here. So you'll notice there are some things that are kind of blocked out. Well, we don't want to give away all of our secrets, of course, so we're going to keep some things hidden. So the first two things that we have is mining. Mining is going to be coming. It's a pretty big thing that's going to allow you to be able to get your own materials and resources and all that without having to just dumpster dive and whatnot. It brings out a new job as well as new skills with it. And then at the end of things, we have Vangies. We're going to be bringing Vangelicos, which is going to be, of course, a basic jewelry heist. This is our first step into doing heists in the server. It won't just be a heist, though. There's also a store involved, so you can get jewelry and whatnot. And then, of course, there's hidden secrets. With all of this, there's going to be many, many different hidden secrets. We're not going to give everything away. We still want you to be able to find things in RP and still have fun exploring and finding stuff out. That's kind of our big thing here. We don't want you to just kind of get everything on a silver platter. We still want you to be able to explore and find things out on your own. Exactly as Nova said, mine valuables or steal them. Make your choice. All right, and then from here we have the next part, which is businesses. So we're going to be opening up business applications here. Dion, would you like to kind of take this over and kind of explain what the plan is here for businesses?
Yep. So let me pull my notes up. Give me 2 seconds.
No, you're okay. Bear with us for 1 second, guys.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Dion.
I had asked for the notes to be DM'd to me, and I got DM'd a picture of a cat. So sorry for the delay. So after this meeting, we're gonna be opening up applications for businesses. So while we don't have like our business bureau and everything totally set up or fleshed out yet, we want to open up kind of the floodgates so people can start, proposing things or like working on their proposals. We're gonna be doing it through like Discord tickets to start. So we just like need some kind of basic information from everybody, like the in-city name, email number, what business you're applying for. The ones right now that we're gonna be accepting applications for have been put in the business directory that we released about a week ago. And one important thing to make note of kind of is businesses in no way are they like first come, first serve type things. Like it's going to be very involved, and we really want to see some nice fleshed out, really thought out proposals. And we're going to try to really be kind of selective with whose proposals we're accepting, because we don't want the businesses to just be an idle thing that people are using to make income. Like I'd like the businesses to be as involved and as active as they could kind of be. With the proposals, while we are doing it through like Discord tickets, we want them to be creative and done in city as well. So with a proposal, I think want something like an in-city counterpart. So that could be like a proposal meeting held with the business bureau that will have like a slideshow or a presentation, and those can be like streamed in a Discord VC and done in city kind of at the same time to like maintain kind of a role play about the whole thing. So it's not just all done, in Discord or through tickets. And I know with a lot of businesses comes talk of MLOs and stuff. Right now, we're not going to be importing people's MLOs, but that will be coming very, very soon. And I'd say, like, if you have a proposal for a business, don't feel like you have to cram it into like a base city or an MLO that we currently have in the city. Then some rules we're thinking about for businesses is limiting them to having one character be able to own one business and be the co-owner of another business. And that is subject to change, but we think that's what we want to use kind of going forward, and just to test that out first. And I know some concerns people have always when it comes to business is like gangs monopolizing it. And I'd say at this point, our community isn't that big yet. But like I said earlier, we're going to try to be very selective over which businesses we kind of let in. And not to say that we're going to be, cherry picking business owners out, but like if we do notice that there's a gang taking up a vast like majority of businesses, I think it would come down to the staff to be like, okay, well, they already have X amount. Maybe we can wait to get more proposals for this business and see if something kind of beats it out. But I think we're just going to try to be really fair about that, and we'll try to really kind of limit a gang monopoly. Because I've been in cities where, one person kind of has their hands in like every business in the city through like legitimate or illegitimate kind of means, and that's just something we really want to avoid. And I think for business ownership, you kind of want to generally have a more legal character. Like, we're not saying that you can't you can't like behave outside of the law or anything like that, but I think like violent felons, and if you have a terrorism charge or something like that, I don't think you're gonna get very far in the business world.
Oh, exactly. All right, do you have anything else with that part, Dion, or are we all good?
No, I think anything else can be covered in the kind of a Q&A section after.
All right, perfect.
Like, if you guys have questions, just hold on to them and then send them at the end of the kind of meeting.
All right, awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. So, we have here our monetization concept. So, understand this is a work in progress. Like, this is not final. This is subject to change. But essentially, our idea is we want to aim for a monetization plan that avoids pay to win, FOMO, and sunken cost. We're trying to offer a great deal for our entry level of a subscription when this comes out. And essentially, like, what we'll have is, some of these will have different like character slot limits and stuff. We'll have different prio stacks and other things. We're still working through it all. Now, please understand, like, one of the big things that we have talked about is this community here is made for you guys at the end of the day. So if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see in a supporter tier, whatnot, please go ahead and submit it to us, and we'll of course look it over and kind of go through some things. But essentially, like, what we have here is kind of went for a, aviation kind of style of things. So like, you can see here, like, our supporter tiers, their boarding passes. Thought it was like a fun little design to do, and all of our tier names are basically, done with the sky. So you have Horizon, Cloud, Stratus, and our top one, Mile High Club. And then of course what we're going to have is eventually we'll be having vanity license plates. We'll have vanity phone numbers, possibly. We're still trying to figure out everything with that. As well as, if you don't want to buy a supporter tier to get additional character slots, you can just buy permanent character slots. We're not going to discuss pricing and stuff right now. We're going to come to that at a later point, but just know this is something we are working on, and we're going to work with you guys and make it amazing, because at the end of the day, we do not want you guys to feel like that you have to pay an arm and a leg to do things in the server. We never want that sort of thing. We're not going to go for any sort of pay to win monetization or any of that, because we all despise that. Because at the end of the day, yes, we are owners here, admin, staff, etc., but we're still players. Like, we're still players. We play on our server. We role play on our server. Like, we're not just kind of sitting here and just, running a server without actually being in it and playing in it, because that just doesn't make any sense to me at the end of the day. But I think that's all I have for this section. Does anyone want to touch on anything in here? Dion, do you want to touch on anything with this before we move on to a Q&A?
Yeah, what I will say is that this is something that is like far down the line. So I don't want anybody to be spooked by us talking about like a concept like this. But I think it's just important to kind of bring it up to just show transparency and be like, okay, like down the line, like months down the road, when we do have like a full release, that this is something we would be looking at. So we didn't necessarily want to blindside anybody with it like down the road, but just in the sake of transparency, I feel like it was worth bringing up.
Yeah, exactly. We want to, our big thing is we want to be transparent with you guys, as the community owners, to you as the community, because we feel that is the best way to manage a community, is being open, honest, and just talking with you guys on a one-to-one kind of level, instead of just being like, hey, we got this here, we're going to charge this amount of money, and we're not going to explain what it's for, that kind of thing. It's, we're just being open about that. But now we're going to go into the Q&A section. So I know there's quite a lot of questions that we have that people have asked, that they've asked Nova, and, kind of gathered some answers for us. But if you have any additional questions, please put them into either, if you're in the Twitch chat, put it in Twitch chat, or put it into the Discord community meeting chat here. So we're switching to the slide now. So Q&A, if you have any questions, of course, please put them in the chat and we will get them answered.
Hi, it's
Oh, sorry,
go for
Dom.
it, Ethan.
I'm
No,
gonna
go for it, go
answer. I'm gonna answer Dima's question real quick. No, that will never happen. We would like our server to be open to everybody, with of course, the possibility of whitelist at a later time. But no, we are not going to have it so you have to pay to play on the server. That is just, in our opinion, that is a really dummy thing to do. Dom, go ahead.
I am going to quickly bring this up, and we will get back to the Q&A. So at the moment, Ethan has kind of mentioned, and I mentioned it, me and Ethan are currently in charge of running the SAMS department, or San Andreas Medical Services. We are looking for somebody to take over my position as chief, as I had taken it up to help us get going. And Ethan is staying on, so you will be able to work with Ethan as well. But keep that in mind. If you guys know anybody who would be interested in that, please feel free to come forward, and we can get that in, movement if that's something you're interested in. I know Ethan as well is kind of excited. But that is everything for me.
All right, thank you, Dom.
I'm going back to the quiet zone now.
Well, I'm probably going to call on you in a little bit for these other questions that we have here. Okay, so let's kind of go through some of these questions here that we have. So there's been people asking about our plans for the clothing system, as we've talked about, that we have some things kind of going on with the clothing at the moment and what our plans are. So right now we're going to be working on rolling out our new clothing system that we have. This is a revamped version of the one that we currently have. That's a lot better, works a lot nicer. And on our end as developers, it makes our job 1,000 times easier, because the one we were using before kind of had a lot of problems in some areas. It was a good system, but it kind of made things a little too convoluted. So once we're done rolling out this initial part, after that, we're going to try and kind of roll out another part of the clothing experience that adds in physicalized clothing. Really excited about that, because I feel like that would really open in some really cool RP opportunities. If people want to own like a clothing store, they can make like suits and stuff, and they can sell them of like, hey, here's my suit setup that I've made, or this kind of thing. It just kind of adds more role play, because at the end of the day, the big thing is more role play, better. That's honestly the best thing. Now we have here, Dom, do you want to talk about the factions questions that were asked about? There you go. You should now be able to speak.
I should have just stayed up here and just read it. So for all of our criminal doers and lawbreakers, actually, I will let Dion, if you want, answer what was just asked in the chat. I feel like that would be you can definitely give us a timeline on that.
Oh yeah, Diego's question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I think we're getting close to where we could kind of say that we're going to be going into more of a beta stage. What the alpha is really is kind of a very rough version of what kind of vision we have. So going forward, like in the next week or so, we should have our own dedicated kind of up and running dev server, so I don't have to be making changes live on a server that people are trying to play on and constantly, breaking stuff and chasing after bug fixes that I'm creating by trying to make additional features and stuff. So once that happens and I finally can work through like the bug report list and get it all cleaned up, then I'd say we'd be in more of a beta stage, and then I'd be working on that dev server probably for a couple months to get us to a more of a 1.0 stage. But constantly improving and constantly moving forward is what I try to do every day, and I'm always tinkering and working on stuff. So yeah.
And to also kind of piggyback off that as well, so with the Fortune and Vice update, that is essentially going to be our movement into beta from alpha. So when we get to start doing the rollout, that is when we're amping up to go into beta from alpha. Now, we might possibly have a wipe around that time. Don't know just yet. It depends on how much gets changed. But of course, when we go into full 1.0, when that happens. Which I will also say this: when it comes to our updates, we're not just going to have our update names be numbers. We don't feel like there's any significance behind that. We are going to have things with titles and stuff to add more emphasis to, like, hey, it's something big. When we get to that point, we're going to go ahead and do a wipe, because at that point, economy is going to be, in a really good state. Other things will be in a good state. And we want to make sure that all the old stuff has been wiped and we're now on a fresh new slate for everybody. When it comes to business owners, oh, go ahead, Dion.
I think you're about to get to it, but I was just going to say, to piggyback onto that, once 1.0 does come and we're at a state where we do wipe the economy, any business owners from like alpha, beta, from like these days right now will carry those businesses on into 1.0, because we don't feel that it's fair for you just to own it for, kind of the trial run of the server, and then us just snatch it from you and say, okay, do it again once we're in 1.0.
Exactly.
But, like possessions, the businesses, your inventory and your shared accounts will be wiped, though. It will be a full economy wipe, but you'll still retain ownership of your business.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because the big thing too is, at the end of the day, if you guys are on the ground floor building with us, all this stuff, we want to make sure, you feel, we support you on, all that stuff with your business and whatnot, as well as we will give you guys like a kickstart to kind of get things going again. Economy wipe only. Yes, that is true. We may, depending on like if we get like new clothing and stuff, there may be a character wipe, but I don't know, not fully. But yeah, economy wipe 100% is what it would be. So you would lose, of course, your cars. If you have any apartments and stuff, those would be gone. If you have, that kind of stuff, it's gone. So it will just be economy wipe, not a lore wipe. That we don't like lore wipes. That's not fun. We want people to be able to continue your stories and everything. But yeah. Oh, I just
there won't be like an actual physical character wipe. So don't worry about tinkering and having to remake your characters. I'll do everything in my power to make sure you guys can keep your characters and your faces.
Yep. And the other thing too, when we get to the point of having like, the character slots being able to be purchased, phone numbers, license plates, whatever, that will transfer between wipes. We will make sure that happens, because at the end of the day, you guys are spending the money. We're not going to go ahead and just be like, hey, forget about you guys. That's not how we are. Okay. Dom, do you now want to talk about the faction stuff?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Back to my dirty criminal scums and lawbreakers that Knightsley is just waiting to put behind bars.
Oh yeah.
There's been a good couple of questions that have come up and that have come to our attention. So the big one that we are working on, I guess, as a team, and it's something that's still being talked about, is whitelisted gangs and applications. That is still up in the air and being discussed at the moment between myself and the rest of the team, as there's different opinions that we all have, and we're trying to make it to where it's something we all want and believe in. So they will be coming to an extent, and I will keep you guys updated on that as we keep going, and myself and the rest of the team figure out how we'd like to get this system out to you guys. That's the first big one. There will be official crews, and trust me, I know people are chomping at the bits to get established and official, but that will come in time, and I'm working on that as quickly as I can. The next big one, I'm going to post in the chat the 4R criminals, the filthy gang and faction guidelines. So if you guys would love to head over there, this is everything that we've come up with for our factions. We are open to adding or changing stuff, so please feel free if you guys see anything that could be added. Feel free to open a ticket and talk to me, and I will bring it up to the team and we will talk about it. That is always a thing. We are always looking for the outside opinion of you guys from the community.
Yeah.
The next big one, and I know this is going to be a big one for people is the MLOs and gang clothing. Now, gang MLOs, Dion kind of already touched on MLOs, but when it comes to gang MLOs and MLOs, we will be discussing further as to what we'd like to do about MLOs for gangs, and specifically because we've got to figure it out, because a lot of gangs want MLOs, so it requires a lot of server usage. So for us, that has to be something we have to sit down and talk about. So that is a little further out. Gang clothing, on the other hand, I have discussed with the team, and once we get the new clothing system in place, I will be sitting down with the clothing team myself, and we will be going through and picking a couple of items that will be available for you guys to get and customize to have for your gang. So for your MCs, you'll be able to get your cuts, I know how important that is as a former MC Prez, your cuts, masks, there's going to be t-shirts, hoodies, a collection of stuff like that. I know people ask about custom clothing and things like that. For us right now, for gang stuff, and I'll use the MC because it's something I've been a part of as my example, is custom cuts. It's not something we're going to look at doing just for the simplicity of keeping everything on one item. That way it's less use on the server and more clothing that the clothing team themselves can put in. So it may just be a standard cut that will have different variations for different MCs that do come along. But it is something I'm working on as quick as I can for all the gangs in the server. The last thing I'm going to kind of touch on for gangs, and that'll be where I leave, is I know for people, if we do allow MLOs and gang clothing, how quick will that be put in? Our goal, and I think Dion and Ethan can agree with me, is the community first. So we will always try to get that stuff in first, but it may get backed up a little bit due to bigger bugs coming in or things breaking. So custom items will be in as soon as possible if the time constraints allow us to. And if you guys have any other gang criminal related questions, go ahead and ask and I'll answer.
That goes for anybody in the Twitch chat or anybody in the Discord.
So Dark's got a good one, Dion. I'll let you answer that. What's the plan with pickpocketing, as it seems to be broken?
Yeah, the pickpocketing is something I'm still looking into, because for some people, it is like insanely fast, and I haven't experienced that, and I know a bunch of people who also have it very slow. So it's like it teeters the line between being extremely easy for some people and then just like impossibly hard for others. So yeah, that's still something I'm looking into and trying to fix. TM on that one.
Dom Diego asked, is there a where hold up, I just lost it. Member limits for factions.
Member limits, I mean, I'll kind of use
us as an example.
I'm gonna use us as an example. I mean, Realistically, the numbers are set for everything that needs to be. Your wars are set. Your crime is set. Now, I will say between myself and Knightsley, these criminal number, like maximum amounts, are viable to change based on what we see and feedback we receive. I will say that right now. As for general overall numbers, I don't have a set number set, and I don't know if we as a team have ever talked about that, just due to the fact of the gang that we were in was a lot of people, and to be able to have your gang be around in numbers has never been a problem, and it's been something I more enjoy seeing. It's nice to see like an MC riding around like in formation 20 deep, instead of, them being limited. Oh, you can only have like 7 people on, per whatever. I want to be able to see the gangs out on Grove. I want to see Grove Street out, just walking around, dealing, doing whatever they're doing. But then when it comes time to do crime or to fight people, those numbers are set. So it could be something if people feel needed, but right now I don't think we need a full set number of criminals per gang.
Yes, that is more
Yes,
or less what
Diego.
he's saying,
It is
Diego.
all, yeah, that is all listed in the faction guidelines that I posted. If you need me to, I can DM it to you directly. That way you can see it. But
So I think one of the big things too, with Dom as well, is we're not putting on a actual role play limit. So for instance, if you're having like your church for your MC, right? And let's say you have 30 members there, it's not going to be like, oh, because of an arbitrary rule, there's only 10 people that are allowed there, because if a situation turns into a violent situation, then now it's going over group limits. That's not how that works. It really works as if there's 30 of you guys having church, someone decides to go in there and mess with you guys. I mean, I have no issue with, all you guys taking care of them. Like, that's on
yeah,
them
if
for going against.
people are gonna, decide to try and mess with you at your turf, I've always been on the standing ground of, if there's 30 gang members standing on Grove Street and somebody decides to drive, if somebody decides to drive down there and try and drive by, you're not gonna, like, 30 can respond. It is your turf. But if you're going out for a war and it's specifically met with the war terms that are listed in the faction guidelines, that's where the rule would come in play. I did see Dima ask if there's a concept for like a potential turf system. No, all of that will be done in roleplay. So if you guys are claiming, you know, Polito Bay or Grapeseed, it is up to you to claim that and to make it known that it's claimed. I don't think we have a scene script at the moment, but I think there is one coming. So you'll be able to, put up your gang tags and stuff like that. And so, for the MC, you guys will be able to put up your center patch and around Grapeseed or wherever you guys are claiming. It'd be the same thing with, Grove Street. They'd be able to put up their tags and spray paint down on Grove Street. So there is not a system like in place for that. It is all going to be done within roleplay.
Yeah, and we personally don't want
And
to
it is
stray from
basically
that.
no, and at that point it becomes a gang. Like, the heads of each gang will then have to put in the groundwork to maintain a list of like claimed turfs. That way it all stays within roleplay. That way nothing is meta information, nothing is, it becomes a thing of where gangs have to talk to gangs or try and put in the scouting work to figure out who is where and how much they claim.
Yeah, we are also looking into getting an actual like tagging system too, not just a scene script, but a tagging system where you can buy like spray paint and stuff, and you can spray up areas to like claim it, but it won't be like an actual mechanic to claim a territory, as Dom said. It's all done in roleplay because, as we talked about before, our main thing is we want roleplay to be first, front and center. We don't want you to be claiming an area like in Rust with claims and stuff, because that's just not how it is. That's not what we want. And like, we don't want offline raiding kind of things to be happening, or people just arbitrarily taking a location because, oh yeah, I can do it because I have more people that can spray this area and claim this territory. It should be more handled in RP, and that's how we've always felt.
I'm now implementing a DC system. This is now turning into a Rust server.
Exactly as Aaron said. We want to give you guys the tools
Yeah.
and resources to create roleplay, not system and scripts that do it for you. Okay, let me go ahead. Is there anything else you want to touch up on, Dom? If there's no other questions from anybody for
So,
gang related stuff?
I've been
will
trying to talk, but y'all been yapping away, so I've been waiting.
I'm sorry, Brandon.
Are you Yap? I will mute for now.
Sully, no, there's not going to be a Terry Frisk script because the same thing as a search script for one. And the more scripts you have for PD, the higher the load on it is on the server, because PD scripts are usually heavily intensive. And honestly, you as the officer should know how to RP what a Terry Frisk is. So if you can't determine what you can and cannot feel from a Terry Frisk, then that's something we'll have to train out in RP, figure out what people can and cannot Terry Frisk. That's all I had.
Perfect. Thank you, Brandon. All right. Dom, do you have anything you want to finish off with?
Yes, so I am going to say one more thing before I bounce out, and that is there is a lot more on the horizon for criminal activities. I know Ethan, me and you have talked about redoing some of the things that are already in place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bigger jobs are coming. Definitely a lot more on the horizon. A lot of small stuff that's kind of been popping into my head here and there that I've been haphazardly making a list of that I need to talk to people about. But there are things coming, and if you guys have any ideas as to things you'd like to see, whether it's, you know, more small petty crime or bigger heists, like I said, my DMs are always open. I may take a little bit to get back to you just because I'm either working or being a dad or just not around, but I will always answer any DM. So the more outside opinion and ideas we can get, I am definitely looking forward to working with that. But that is it for me. I have to head out now.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Fuck
Dom.
out of here.
Fuck you. Love you.
Love you too, buddy. To answer your question, David, yes, there will be more departments. We're starting with PD now to get our base structure out of the way so we can get everybody trained up to potentially put people in positions so we can open up other departments. I'm a county guy. I really don't want to do LSPD. I want to do BCSO. So right now I'm having to set BCSO up so we can get people to fill in the slots so I can leave to go open BCSO and then state PD down the line. Park Rangers probably won't ever open. It'll probably be a subset inside the sheriff's office.
Sounds like I'm becoming a
depending on
sheriff.
depending on the county, in some states you do have game wardens and stuff inside the county. It just depends on what the state funding is for the parks. For example, the department I work for those that don't know, I do work for a law enforcement agency. We manage the beaches out in my county because I'm in Florida. We're on the beach. Somebody has to manage it. Park rangers aren't going to do it.
All right, before we move on, are there any other questions for Knightsley regarding PD stuff? I got a lot more questions I got to touch up on from people. Dima, all I will say to that is everyone's going to hate me for it. Soon TM. Okay. Thank you, Knightsy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go over some more of these questions that I have here. So, question we got asked: would like to hear about MLOs, like in full, not just gang specific or businesses. Will there be MLOs for quality of life, like the Legion Square one? We're always more than happy to take in any sort of MLO suggestions to better help the server in terms of roleplay, or in general having more community engagement with locations such as a full revamp of the pier or other sort of locations. So if you have any of those, please put them in a server suggestions or make a ticket, and we'll talk to you guys about it. From there, we have another question asking about crime and the server. What our plans are. Well, without giving too much away, of course, I mean, as you did see in the roadmap preview, we have a lot more crimes down the pipeline, ranging from petty crimes, like, of course, breaking ML boxes, that kind of stuff, to large, in-depth, intricate heists, and big major crimes. From there, we got another question of asking, will whitelisted be a thing down the line? Yes. Our plan is right now, our general plan is to move to whitelist after about 6 to 7 months. This isn't set in stone though, because this is entirely dependent on the health of the community and growth and whatnot. If we do end up in a really good spot where we have a lot of incredible, amazing role players building in stories, all these really good characters and things, and really contributing to our standards of RP in the server, and we feel, hey, now's the time, we'll go ahead and we'll start moving things into whitelist. Everyone that is currently here that either has a founder role or they've been a part of the server for a while and we've been seeing your RP, you would automatically become part of those whitelist or allow listed people. But yeah, like I said, it's entirely dependent on a lot of different factors, but that is our plan to move to whitelisted. Okay, we got a question from, I think that's Jacinda. So asking about housing. Housing was not touched on. We're not gonna go into housing just yet. We will be releasing soon, and by soon I mean very soon, our first round of apartments. These will be MLO apartments. So pretty excited to see how those are gonna be. It's not gonna be teleport in. We're gonna be having it be an MLO apartment. And we have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's 50 different apartment rooms in the apartments that we have. If I'm not mistaken, right, Dion? There's 50 of them.
There's that.
98.
Oh yeah,
Never
there's
mind.
98. There you go.
98.
There's 2 towers, both
Yep.
with 49 rooms or something like that. And I will say, that MLO, I know a lot of people discovered it and we're kind of like running around inside it. But yeah, that's going to be kind of the starter apartments. And then we are also going to be opening up various motels around the city.
Yep.
So you'll have Pink Cage, like the Hunter's Lodge up in Polito, and then a couple other ones just scattered across. A few of those will be MLO, like Pink Cage and the Hunter Cabin. And then some of them will be like teleport to shell kind of deals.
We're going to try and offer more MLO based ones. And of course, with our process of going through MLO housing and apartments and whatnot, there's a lot of checks that we have to go through, making sure, okay, is this optimized for this? Are the collisions good? All this. The other thing too, when it comes to bringing in MLOs and all that, we have a pretty extensive checklist that we go to in terms of like, okay, does this match our consistency of quality with assets in the server? If it doesn't, then it doesn't go through the next stages, because at the end of the day, we want things to feel consistent and everything to feel a part of each other instead of just stuff that's kind of just slammed in and just kind of mishmash. That's not what we want to be representing. From there, I have another question about we'd like to hear about how we're going to be recruiting for the server and how we'll attempt to show a steady pop growth. So we have a few ideas currently. Of course, ideally we have socials where we can share moments from the server, though that is probably not a huge draw. Otherwise, our biggest plans for that are to work with some content creators once they have enough pop to justify it to people who join from that content, as well as prioritization to get our name on things like recommended server lists, best servers for new players, and eventually voting sites where we can then bring in people who know no one to continue to grow by word of mouth afterwards, hopefully. Another question, which I did answer, but we'll go ahead and go through it again. Will there be any pay-to-win options, donations to get higher powered cars, or perks to propel that person forward? No, we all personally despise any sort of pay-to-win type of option. That is not something that we like at all. We've been in way too many servers where it's been, hey, for $90 you can get yourself a package car, or hey, you can get yourself crates for this much, and then all of a sudden, if you're a gun runner, everything just doesn't, work. It's just like, oh wow, like that gun that I just got now is worth nothing because someone could just go pay $7 and get it from a crate. Travis, that is a question for you about economy, if you would like to touch on that. You may need to request. Yeah, there we go. Invite to speak. There we go. Travis, you there?
While we wait for him, what I will say is that we obsessively kind of look into how people are making money or how much, and it's something we're constantly tweaking, and it's something that we will actively continue to kind of tweak and keep a very active eye on, just to really avoid something like this or the economy inflating. Sorry.
No, exactly. One thing we definitely do not want is our economy to be like, hey, you can make yourself $1 million in less than a few hours. We never want that sort of thing to happen. But Travis is here. Travis, you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, I was AFK for a second. What am I answering?
A question about the economy. How do y'all plan to keep prices affordable and not have the economy inflate so much like other servers where, for example, a starter car be like $20,000?
So one of the things I've noticed when inflation starts happening is it's always trying to tackle the grinders. There's always going to be a small amount of players who really enjoy being in server, making a ton of money. And instead of trying to counter them and making the rest of the community suffer, it's okay to just have a few rich people, I think. So instead of everything getting more expensive, we'll just allow the small percent to be rich, I think. But any economic system that seems to be paying exorbitantly more than others, we will try to tune them down to at least not have to wipe, because at the end of the day, wiping is the end of the economy, and that means the economy failed.
That is true, Nova.
Money sinks are great. I'm always happy to hear more suggestions on how to do them. We all know that cars is one of the biggest ones. Real estate at some point will be there. But the new player experience is extremely important to us. We wanted to make sure that the beginner cars were reasonably affordable. Because when you first spawn in, it's kind of rough getting around until you can get one of those starter cars. So having to grind for 20 hours to get your first car is not what we want.
Yeah, we definitely do not want that. Let's see. Diego asked, speaking of cars, are you guys keeping in heli and planes? I personally, myself, I don't have an issue with that. We will have RP methods to actually be obtaining them, like possibly, I mean, back in the day when I was doing RP stuff and like 2017, 2016, we had like a legitimate flight school you went to get a pilot's license, and same thing with a helicopter license, and it made it a lot more fun, in my personal opinion, because you actually had to go through things and there was actual role play to it. Let's see. Another question that was asked is about VIN scratching. I
can talk on that.
Go ahead, Dion.
Okay, so it was disabled. Yes, I disabled it, but going forward, I think we're gonna look into kind of rebalancing it and making it a little more expensive and a little more exclusive to be VIN scratching. That way, it's just not, because right now where we are at with kind of our rotation, we don't want people just to be grinding, boosting, and just kind of getting around the rotation that way so easy. But yeah, it will be back soon and rebalanced and a little better, I think.
Yep. All right, let's see. There was another question I just saw. Diego asked about player ran events. Do you guys plan on having community events? Yes, we do. Actually, myself, Nova, and a couple others, we're going to be planning community events because, as I said before, Nova's our community ambassador, so she's going to be kind of working on some like fun community events and stuff. Yep. Nova, would you like to talk on that? All right, hold up. Invite to speak. There we go. I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate stages. This is my first time using this stuff. Hey, Nova.
This is hi. I don't have anything planned to say, so I'm just probably going to ramble and yap for a bit. So a lot of people here that have come from other cities know how obsessive I am with events, and I'm gonna continue it because it's something I really enjoy. With again continuing a massive focus on community events. My focus has always been community and bringing on board everybody in the city. I've never been biased towards anybody or any particular company or business or whatnot. So it's definitely something I'm going to be doing. Doing events where anybody can get involved, anybody can do anything, and I don't know really what to say. I have lots of ideas, and I take on a thing. I've done things like Comic Cons and festivals and all sorts of things. So the only limit is your imagination.
Exactly.
I do love it. And if you want to do, so say if you apply for a business and you want to do an event as the business, I'm more than happy to help out with that in the organization in the background. It's just something I do for fun. Terry Friskin Festival. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, so thank you.
All right, thank you, Nova. Okay, so let's see. We got quite a bit of vehicle questions. Aaron, you wanna go ahead and talk about some of that?
Yeah, I wrote a little section for this. I can let you guys know. So right now, my main focus, as well as some just general other things for the server, is working on the new rotation for PDM. We also custom imports. Myself and a couple other people have been working on. And then the vehicle damage right now is also being looked into, so we're just planning on fine-tuning that. As far as new rotation goes, we're coming up on our next rotation probably in the next month here. I want to get things going. We plan on doing it quarterly, so I'm thinking every 4 months-ish I want a new rotation to be added into the dealership. And then whenever that month comes, we're also going to be having a good handful of imports that's picked out by the team. They're going to be heading into the supporter dealership way down the line whenever that comes in, and then also drip fed and bled into the regular dealership a bit as well. And then there will be just a mix of base city and then custom imports as well. So expect that soon.
Perfect. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, let's
How do I
see.
leave? Get me out. Where do I go?
I
wanna
don't
be here
I
anymore.
don't know.
Let me leave. Let me leave.
I'll move to audience. There we go. Bye. Bye, Aaron. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So we got another question here. Would like to know how staff will enforce rules upon themselves and how they'll keep it fair. So basically, at the end of the day, regardless of us being staff, owners, whatnot, we hold ourselves to the same standard as every single player. We've all come from many different RP servers, and every single one of us as a staff team have all RP'd together for many years. Staff actions will also be heavily monitored by logs to assist with any questionable moments during RP. We'll all hold ourselves accountable with whatever happens, because at the end of the day, we hold ourselves to the same level as you guys, and sometimes even a little higher, just because we want to be, showing ourselves to the best standard to the community in terms of roleplay and whatnot, as well as being fair. So the question is a reassurance about suggestions that are being looked at and considered. Some suggestions don't have any admin response or acknowledgement that they have been made aware of. What I will say is we look at every... Oh, go ahead, Dion.
I was gonna say, we do absolutely look at every bug suggestion, and sometimes I can kind of get overwhelmed as the kind of person like heading up the development side. So I'm sorry that I'm not always the most responsive on like reacting to things, but I do every day. Like my main tasks are usually going in and clearing those, and then getting to work on other stuff. But anytime those come in, I'm obsessively checking them, and I'll try to be better going forward about, like visually acknowledging them, so people don't feel like they're just talking to a brick wall, because that's definitely not what's happening.
Yeah, and to also add with that as well, at the end of the day, we're a community-driven server, and this community was made for nobody else but you guys, the community, and we want you guys to know that you are helping us shape this community into something amazing. Without you guys here, then we really don't know where we'd be in a lot of places, because like I said, at the end of the day, we're here for you guys as the community. Another question that was asked, you guys would like to know in terms of the standard of roleplay that we're going for. So the type of RP standards we want to set is semi-realistic style of roleplay. This allows for some flexibility within roleplay scenes without restricting everything to hardcore realism at the end of the day. Now, on the other end, our EMS and PD is held to a more realistic standard of roleplay, where for EMS, we have countless surgery guides as well as medical guides and stuff to give the player a interactive type of experience when, getting treated and whatnot, which sometimes I understand that as a person that has died in game from maybe food loss or that kind of thing, that you just want to get revived. But also remember, at the end of the day too, the EMS people that are coming to pick you up and stuff, they're also here to role play as well. So please make sure to just reciprocate role play. If they're giving it to you, give it back to them. And then also to kind of go off on that as well, so PD is of course held to a more realistic standard with EMS, while still allowing our criminals the ability to RP out situations where it makes sense. And I think, yeah, that is in terms of all the questions that we had lined up. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask at all? Now is the time to say anything that you'd like to say. What about corruption?
I forgot a slot abilities to talk.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna lie. Just going into details like when and if we will allow corruption in any, government agencies, whitelisted jobs going forward. For them, I know for PD, it's going to be very hard for us to do it.
Yep.
We'll have to look at it further down the line. So as of right now, PD is a zero tolerance on corruption. I track the logs. If I see you robbing an ATM on your cop character, I will be opening a ticket. So just know that in the future, if you want to have those RPA scenarios of having like cool corruption scenarios where you're feeding information to a gang, or you're a gang member that wanted to infiltrate the police because you're legal, I'd be happy to have it, but I want it done the right way, because we've been in too many servers where the corruption's run so rampant they'll pick and choose who they want to get rid of for corruption. So we don't want that happening here. So I don't know what on y'all's and Ethan and on for EMS and the other government agencies what your view on it is, but I know for police specifically, it's going to be a while before we allow it.
I can see in the chat that right now the DOJ is also zero tolerance on corruption.
And to kind of add into with corruption means also gang affiliation. If you're a part of a gang and you're, let's say you are a lawyer in DOJ, but you're not feeding that information to your gang, that's still corruption because you're affiliated. And that's something we're not going to allow because that still is corruption. Now with EMS, for instance, it's a bit more of something that we're kind of discussing because in other servers we were a part of, there was a fair bit of gang members that were also a part of EMS, but when they were on duty doing their job, they were doing their job properly and not just, kind of reviving people because they're, a member of their gang, that kind of thing. That's something we're going to still discuss. So whenever there's an update on that, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But as of right now, we're not going to have any sort of corruption. We're going to figure out what the idea is with things. But yeah. Yeah, it goes into abuse of a whitelisted job as well.
Yeah, what I'll say about it is I think this early on in the community, it's something that we have to be like super careful about.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's something you need to be very careful about because corruption can make or break things, to be honest. Yes, we would like more story-driven based corruption kind of stuff when that is a possibility, instead of just being corrupt to be corrupt. Like, you need to have an actual reason. You'd work with the story team that we have, and they'll kind of go with you. Knights will be brought into the ticket, of course, and you guys would kind of discuss your plans and stuff to make it where it makes sense.
To answer Dima's question and comment, 100% those will be taken seriously, and that's like I don't know, the examples you kind of listed, that's like really egregious examples of like metagaming and all sorts of kind of abuses, especially when it comes from staff members. And if something like that were to happen here, that those people would quickly find themselves no longer on the staff team.
If they're one of mine, they'll quickly get removed as well. A good example is a long time ago, Ethan and I were on a different server. I was the lead detective investigating his gang while having a criminal character. I didn't bleed or blur the lines. I try to keep it as fair as possible because it's not fun. It's not fun to fucking use that information I know on my gang character as my detective when I want the ability to actually find that information legitimate.
Yeah.
So I personally pride myself in being able not to blur that line. So I hold all my people to a higher standard. My main thing has always been major crimes. I'm not running it here. One of my close friends is the head of major crimes here. But best believe, if anybody steps out of line and that kind of thing, my foot will be up their ass and it will be squashed.
Yeah, that's a zero tolerance kind of thing. We don't like that sort of thing at all because at the end of the day, that's you just going for a W, which, like we said before in the beginning of this whole meeting, is we're an RP first mentality. If you're trying to go for the win and instead of trying to value the role play of the situation, you're going to probably get an infraction on your record on the server, to be honest, because you're not here for the right reason. No, that's not bad at all, Queenie. That's honestly amazing to do that. Like, some people, they can just do it themselves without any sort of help, and then other people, like, of course they need things to kind of help, like write down like something like, okay, my character knows this character knows this, so that way you don't bleed things. Whatever way helps you. If, like, honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Does anyone else have any questions before we close things out? I know this was, I think this was almost, no, this is like almost like an hour 30. We're an hour 20 right now.
So to answer your question on cop character be limited to one division, no. I'm not a fan of that because one of my other characters is number 2 in a Yakuza, so it's not fair to me because I don't blur the lines. I want everybody to be held to the same standard that I'm held to. So if we can help nudge everybody in that direction, it would be perfect. But if it gets out of hand, maybe we'll have to look at it later down the line.
Yep.
I would rather keep it open. But what I do and what I will make sure is ensured for the major crime unit. So say for example, I'm the detective, only detective on duty, and my other character is a rival gang member to the Ballas. I get on scene. Now somebody from the Ballas is giving me information on my own gang, or vice versa. What I will do is avoid it, have a patrol officer take it, and have him submit it to MCU, so I'm no longer privy to the information. That's me. That's what I'll make sure is going to happen, because I think it's BS for people to pretend like they're being unbiased and actually being biased.
That's always my favorite. Or flying out when you're there as your cop, and then flying in as your crim on the same scene. It's always really fun to see that kind of thing.
The arena garage is full, so most of our shortstops play. Mute. My radio's going on.
Oh no. Yeah, sorry, Knightsley's he's actually at work right now. Yeah, that is crazy, Diego. I will say we had a situation where we were in the middle of a pretty big war, and one of the rivals that was also a cop arrived to the scene as a cop, left, flew in as his gang member, and came and shot us up.
You forgot the part where he fired warning shots.
Oh yeah. Then he fired the warning shots as a cop, and that was really funny. Such a fun time.
And the warning shots were like directly at my head.
Yep. Yeah, totally was not warning shots.
But no, I'll definitely make sure it's as balanced and as fair as possible as I can. If anyone here ever sees any issues like that or suspects an issue, obviously open a ticket or look into it. Make sure you get as much evidence as you can provide, right? Because even though we have logs and such, there's only certain things that I'll be able to track without having evidence. So if at any point you feel that's happening, please report it so I can put my foot in someone's ass.
Let me see that question, Noel. I will need to ask Dom that. He's actually not here right now. He had to go leave. I'll ask him about that, and then when I get an answer, I will let you know. All right. If there is no other questions, we'll give it just a little bit more. Give it like 5 more minutes. If there's no other questions, then we will go ahead and close things out. Thank you, Webb. I mean, also, if anyone is in here right now, if you want to raise your hand and ask a question verbally, completely up to you. Or anyone that's on, of course, our team staff, if there's anything you'd like to say, now's the time.
Raids will happen as fluidly as possible, Dima. Because I'd rather not, again, to keep the meta down. If the gang isn't there and they go kick the door in and you're not there, it is what it is. We'll post, once we get the scene stuff up, there'll be something posted. Or maybe we'll have to DM you, because I'd rather not have those officers knowing you're there, because that's part of the risk, right? They're going to the raid, maybe say it's your headquarters. The risk is that all 30 of you may be there and 8 SWAT guys are there. So for them, they need to tactically plan for that. And if you're not there, you're not there at the end of the day, unfortunately. So offline raids will probably happen, unfortunately, just because to make it fair and keep the RP fluid. Because I don't like having scripted raids or RP. Scripted RP doesn't have the same effect to me as fluidity. It doesn't feel natural. There's no risk because then you're not really getting into character. Because if you know that you're going to be 8 versus 30, you're not going to be going in there willy-nilly as balls to the wall as a lot of guys who enter the SWAT team are.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that too. I feel if it's not scripted, it's 100% so much more enjoyable when you're just sitting there just minding your own business and all of a sudden, hey, SWAT team just kicked down the door. I'm about to get destroyed. I think that's a lot more enjoyable than, hey, just letting you know, are you guys going to be on at this time so we can raid you? If you're like, I don't like that. I like it more being roleplay focused than that.
I will cringe so hard if I ever hear that asked.
That is a good question,
That all depends
Brandon.
on the warrant and the RP. It all depends on the warrant and the RP. So if it's a full RICO, then you're probably cooked. But you'll know when that's happening because then there'll be warrants out for your entire gang or at least your leadership.
Yep.
But usually, if it's going to be a specific raid on the building, it's a warrant for whatever's inside that building and potentially the property, depending on what the charges are for. I got to get with DOJ for that because they're still getting set up. And we still got to make sure everything's hammered out with them to even see where we're going to go with that. That's still way down the line. I don't even have MCU opened up for that reason, to give everybody time to get settled and we can get everything squared away so we can get to that point.
All right, let's see. Anyone from staff team want to say anything? Now you can raise your hand if you'd like. Or anyone here in the Discord like to raise your hand and say anything?
Street, do you want to talk for a second and see and give a little bit of a rundown on what's going on with DOJ and maybe push out an ad saying y'all are hiring or something? No, maybe, I don't know.
All right, let me give you talking ability, Street. All right, there you go.
So as you guys know, most people know him as Devontae or Campbell. We are starting at the DOJ. Currently, it's just me and Devontae. There may be one other judge at this time, but we're unsure yet. But we are looking for DA, prosecutors, private attorneys, public defenders, circuit clerk, court, and everything like that. We do have a lot of documents that are already to be pushed out to LEO. And to civilians that want to make complaint forms and stuff like that. But we're just going through them to make sure that they're actually 100 ready, and then we're going to get with the appropriate people that we need to before we actually release them to you guys and everything, just so that everything's done correctly on our... I don't know if anybody has questions about the DOJ, but if they do, they can ask.
I also think Eduardo is going to make an appearance here soon, or TFK Gold. He'll come say hi real quick, and then we will close things out after we get these last questions. Yes, Dima, there is a plan for a fire department. Right now, We're focused on building up all the EMS for stuff for SAMs right now. Once we are done with all that, then we'll be moving into possibly opening up stuff with the fire department when we get our fire system and everything set up. But yeah. That is a good question, Randy. Dion, do you have an answer for Randy's question?
I wouldn't say. I mean, it's hard to put like an actual like 50-50 value in it or something. But what I will say is that I don't want to just obviously cater to people who want to do criminal RP, and I also don't want to just like, I don't want us to cater to people who want to specifically do business or like DOJ RP on the legal side of things. I want there to be a really good balance of actual, civ activities to do. And that's something that we're going to start focusing on here soon. And if anybody has suggestions, stuff like that, things you'd like to be doing in city that, aren't illegal and breaking the law, we're always open to that. And we always love hearing your input and ideas. So yeah, let us know.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Dion. Eduardo, would you like to go ahead and talk?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
I'm Eduardo, also known as Gold and Elvis and whatnot. I am the one of the owners as well as the head of creativity, which just means I kind of like to curate the gameplay experience for all of our players. So I like to kind of go in and make sure there's a way for every player, anyone to access any type of mechanics that we have, or any access, any role play that may be inaccessible. Right now I go in and try to make a path for everyone to kind of get their own hands on it. So I was really late. As some of you guys know, I've been in Japan for 2 weeks, and I guess jet lag kind of got to me. But yeah, thank you guys, everyone for being here. And it's I'm really excited for this community, and everything to co-op. You can go back, Ethan.
All right, perfect.
Oh, I got to call you out on something. Didn't you say jet lag got you? What happened? I thought jet lag didn't exist.
I also thought jet lag didn't exist, but after you walk for 20,000 steps each day, I guess your body gets a little exhausted, and jet lag might be a little real. It might be a little real.
Queenie, that is 100% definitely a possibility. When we get that into the server, if that's someone wants to own it, they would put in a business app, kind of go through things. But yeah, like we would like to offer that for you to own as a business. Honestly, the thing is, you can really own anything as a business. It doesn't need to necessarily be functional. It can just be done in RP. If you want to own like post-op and go deliver packages to people, you can do that. You're not going to make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, we want you to be more focused on with your business's RP instead of just making money at the end of the day. That's what our big focus is with business owners. Yeah, see, I 100% get that too, Nova. I mean, that's why we could have like different, areas of like paintball. Like one could be a player owned paintball course. Other one can just be a normal city one. But yeah, I understand what you're saying with it being restricting of, owned by civilians, but yeah, or player ran. Okay. Well, if there are, let's see here. I think there's some ones coming in. Yeah, no, that's exactly true, Webb. There definitely needs to be a balance with things. Because you can have too many times servers are way too criminal focused without giving the civilians any sort of things to be doing. They're just kind of just sitting there, as what was said, was being walking loot pinatas. We definitely do not want that. Dion, what is the planned character limit before we have the slots?
I think we were thinking in like the range of like 4 slots, I believe, and then a dedicated one if you are EMS, like PD.
Yep.
Or DOJ, and then past that, it would be like a more premium, like paid slot thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, how it would be is if you basically become PD, EMS, DOJ, that sort of thing, you will have a character slot that's given to you, so you'll have an extra character slot. Diego, soon TM. Just everyone
That
pay
is
attention.
classified
Yeah,
information.
it's classified information.
Just look at Travis's fish sticker. Yeah, that'll be coming very soon.
Yep.
Because we know our whole plan with the weed system is that is going to be like more of the idle kind of takes long is safe drug to kind of grind. And I'll say what we have coming is more active, definitely more involved, and not so much more of a grind to do, but it's just way more active and requires kind of constant attention as opposed to kind of setting down plants and forgetting them. Word on the racing scene is that is also coming extremely soon.
Dion, question from Queenie in terms of food businesses. Actually, wait, that's more Travis question.
Yeah, so we have like a business for each category that we've been kind of demoing. We do have plans on how to make restaurants viable, because yeah, my experience has also been that mech shops and like dealerships have made insane amount of money, and that money just kind of sits there rather than like restaurants, which are usually open all the time and is very involved, and they get like scraps compared to them. We see you guys, and we're gonna try and make sure that you guys have the opportunity to make money too.
Dima asked a question about legalizing weed. I think in the future, dispensaries and growing licenses will definitely be a thing and be an avenue for legitimate business that isn't just, like shady drug deals.
Yeah, that is something being worked on. Well, we are currently going through and balancing all those numbers and everything, making sure calories and all that are kind of set up. Yeah, as IKEA said, alpha and beta are times to figure out this, figure out all this. We, people that are in the food industry can make sustainable living. That is why we don't intend to, take your businesses when we go to 1.0, as IKEA said. Yeah. Yes, that is the plan, Diego. So then you're more reliant on actually interacting with players and role playing than just going to a convenience store and just buying it to avoid people, which you can still do. But go ahead, Dion.
I was gonna say in kind of relation to the billing thing. When you buy food from a restaurant, it will also vary on how much it fills you, because it is dependent on what ingredients the creator of that recipe has included. You'll be expecting various prices for different food items from different establishments, depending on how they want to kind of market those items or sell those items.
Yep.
So when it comes to food items, the restaurant creators are actually in control of that. So the way it works is assuming you were going for a restaurant, is you would kind of have like an ingredients list, and whatever ingredient items you would need for those recipes, we would happily add in for you. We do have tons of ingredient items just in already, but you know, if you have some specialty items, we don't mind putting those in. But when it comes to making the recipes, you set the recipes and the pictures yourselves as business owners, which is really cool. So it doesn't actually need input from us, or like, you know, you won't have to wait for us to import special items. You can just kind of create them on the fly. And it's the same with your menus. It will create a physical item that you can put out for people to collect and put in their pockets. And you can do all your own branding and all your own imagery on that in city without the need for us to import those items for you.
Yep. Queenie, you would just go to one of the convenience stores around the map and just buy the local food. It's not going to fill you up as much, but you can still sustain yourself. It's just more recommended to go to the player-owned businesses because, of course, it's going to fill you up more. But yeah. That is definitely a possibility, Queenie. That is something we have looked into. I can't remember if we are enabling this or not, Dion, the offline store for your restaurant.
At the moment, no, but we're looking into it just because it needs some balancing and it kind of relies on some other things. So hopefully that will be an option. And that kind of goes back to the other question about food options when there's no store open.
100%.
Definitely a possibility for an arcade. I don't know if we missed this question or if we talked about it. I don't remember. But Diego asked, there will be a farm that people can collect ingredients and kind of sell them to the businesses. I'll say that is an idea I really love personally, and that's something that I would want, and I know is possible. So
Yep, that is something I would
we can
really
definitely
like
look
as
into
well.
that.
Yeah, that is something we're gonna look into. It would be something kind of cool, like players can
'Cause
own
we
farms, kind of
already-
thing.
We already do have a similar system with the way our mechs kind of operate. So those who don't know, the mechanic shops kind of operate off of tuning parts. So they need tuning components to do upgrades on cars. And tuning components can be found throughout the city right now through some legal and illegal means. And, you know, you guys can go to a mech shop and sell those or use them to, you know, upgrade your own parts in lieu of kind of paying the shop to do the work.
See, the funny thing is with that Nova, that's how I've always wanted. My big thing is having like a living, breathing, like dynamic city where everything in a way is interconnected, where like people that are doing the lumber job go and deliver lumber, but then the people from construction will pick that up to go do things for a construction job. I feel like having things interconnected like that makes it really, I don't know, I love the idea of things being connected in that way. Same thing with having like someone doing post-op and they actually bring the delivery to businesses. It's like, hey, I ordered this online, bam, now it comes to my business, boom. But of course, it's going to require a lot of players to fill all those parts. But I really think something like that as an eventual state would be really awesome to reach. And having player ran farms to help sustain, restaurants and stuff is the first step of that, to be honest.
Dima asked about crafting benches, and there is one. You just have to find it.
Yep, they're all pretty well hidden, Dima. Yeah, multiple. Hey, Ben, that's real world trading. You're gonna get banned. I'm kidding. Oh, I saw the fine print. I'm just messing with you. Yep, exactly. All right, we're almost at the 2-hour mark right now. Does anyone have any closing questions or anything they'd like to ask before we go ahead and finish things off and get out of here? Hey, Irish. Of course, Dima. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to just answer all your guys' questions. Like I said before, we're here for you guys as the community. We're a community-driven server where we're here for you guys. And like I said before, like we're building this community with you guys. So there's no such thing as a dumb question, a wrong question, or anything of that sense. Please just feel free to ask. Like, we love hearing the feedback of everything. We love hearing everything you guys are saying, how much you've been bringing the community alive and just talking about everything, all the positivity, the feedback, suggestions, everything. It's all very much appreciated, and you guys have been nothing but amazing. Thank you, Irish. Much appreciated, man. Happy to have you here, Webb. Yeah, I couldn't be more proud of the community that we've all built. It's pretty crazy given how fast we built this and the amount of time it was, as well as just how passionate every single person is on our team and just in general how amazing this is. Like, it's genuinely so surreal when we open the doors to people coming into the community and just seeing all the positivity with everything, saying like the foundation you have with the server is amazing and we can see really great things, and really excited to see what happens with the future, to just the consistent player pop and everything every now and then, like it's been really awesome, and just the positivity has been great. I mean, we tried in the past, myself and a couple others, we tried to do a community back in 2018, 2019. Didn't really go out as planned, but coming back at it again, and here we are. I couldn't be more proud of what we've all built here for Brighter Skies. I mean, as the title says for the community meeting, you know, looking on new horizons, looking at brighter skies, greener grass, that kind of thing. We're trying to make a community for everyone to basically be the forefront of putting forward great RP, great stories, and as I said, a community for everybody. That's completely understandable. Well, I mean, we kind of, a lot of us got burnt out over a lot of things that have happened over the past 2 years. So it's kind of been a slow burn getting back into things. So there's nothing held against you guys for wanting to keep things at arm's length. That's completely understandable. The starter amount of money is going to stay the same because that is kind of our economy baseline. You start with your, like, the $500, you get your phone and whatnot, like that's going to be staying. Because we don't want people to be getting a bunch of money right off the bat. It just kind of ruins the progression of, you know, starting out, getting familiar with things. Because if you get a car immediately and you keep that car right off the bat, it kind of gets rid of player businesses of taxis or Uber services, that kind of thing. It more encourages you to interact with players. Of course, yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking all these questions. Like, we are here to answer every question you guys have, basically. Oh, we love you too, Irish. Aaron's been doing a phenomenal job with everything. I couldn't be more proud of him. All right, let's go ahead and finish this out. So, thank you all so much for coming to our first community meeting. It was a lot longer than we were all expecting it to be, but really, thank you all so much for being here and being a part of this journey with us. We're so very excited for what's coming up on the horizon. There was a pun intended on that one. But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you guys aren't already a part of the Discord on the ones in Twitch, if you want to come join, it's just discord.gg/bsrp. Come join, enjoy some RP with us, have some fun. But we're gonna close this out, and I'm gonna go fine and let's go RP. Thank you all so much, and hope you all have a great rest of your Friday. Let's have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Y'all people have a good one. I'll see y'all in City.
All right, back on Twitch now. Thank you guys for watching this stream. We're gonna go into the server, have some fun. Yeah, this has been honestly amazing. We've been putting this together for a little bit now, this whole meeting and everything. I've had a lot of fun. It was amazing. And also thank you all so much for the subs. Mom, Dad, Webb, really appreciate it. Love you guys, and I plan on streaming on here soon. I got to get everything set up. I don't have it set up. I only have it set up for this community meeting. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining and watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone.